Hi, everyone. Welcome to RPA AI's executive interview series. I'm Dan Goodstein. I head up the Institute for RPA and AI, and I'm joined today by Elizabeth Tobey. She's the head of marketing for digital and AI at NICE. Elizabeth, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. Very excited to be here and love talking about this topic and helping muddle through all of the amazing things that have happened this year.
Yeah, it's been an exciting time. So I want to ask you about how you see things. But before we jump in, maybe for those who don't know you, give us a little of your background.
Yeah, sure. I've been with NICE, I think about a year and a half now. Started out leading our digital solutions team. And as with all things at technology companies, that has morphed, evolved, and grown over time. And starting this year, started leading up some of our new AI initiatives. NICE has been playing in the AI game for a very long time now, but I think things that have been able to be unlocked with some of the advances with generative AI in particular have been very exciting and allowed us to bring some really new, cool solutions to the market. So I'm sure you'll hear me talk a lot about Enlighten today.
Yeah, sounds good. So I know you talk a lot about kind of purpose-built AI. What does that mean, and why is it important for businesses, especially enterprises right now?
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, ChatGPT burst onto the scene, and everybody could get their hands on what the output could be and how they could use it in their everyday lives. When before these models and all the other technology, you really needed to have some sort of technological background to actually be able to use it and have an output. Folks like me weren't really playing in that area. But when you think about ChatGPT, it's trained on the open internet, which means the good, the bad, the ugly, and the irrelevant for businesses. So when you think about purpose-built AI, you really want to think about only things that are relevant to your industry, your business, and your customers, and nothing more, which means you don't actually need it to be trained on the entire world. You want it trained on your knowledge, your data, your business constitution, so that a retail company and a financial services company would not really be using the same underlying knowledge and technology. So when we talk purpose built, it's really about being built for the rigors of an industry as well as for their expertise and for exactly how they want to present themselves to the world.
So what makes it's an interesting point you make, right? So what makes something kind of enterprise grade in your mind? Is it just about the data processing power and the security and compliance?
Well, we like to say that talking just AI sort of is a misnomer in some ways, because for us, we really think it starts with knowledge. Unstructured data, your knowledge base, all of your interaction data that's ever come before, text, voice, you name it, with your customers, all of that's really rich and what is going to feed into your machine, your neural network, your word vectors that are actually going to make your AI smart and effective and do what you need. And so when you think about enterprise grade, you think first about unlocking all of that data and being able to actually utilize it, as well as the security that you need. Now, the data and the knowledge can create guardrails so that, again, your AI, even if it's a IVA or a chatbot talking to a consumer or helping an agent or an employee, says the right things and is repeatable and understandable, which is very important to take away that black box element to AI where you can ask the same question and you get two different answers. But also that this AI and our technology has the same security that you can think of for financial institutions, healthcare institutions, different governmental institutions. You really have to think about those aspects of it to be able to have it be enterprise grade. Because if you can't explain what your models are doing, where they're coming from, how you're getting those answers, then it's not secure. And for many companies, that means that it's a deal breaker in terms of actually being able to implement that technology safely. So when we think about enterprise grade, we have to check all of those boxes.
Yeah, and what comes to mind for me, when you talk about some of the advances in generative AI, it's a lot of the conversation has been around kind of self-service and consumer-focused solutions, how they're kind of more conversational and empathetic and those sorts of things. Do you see this applying in the larger enterprises as well?
Absolutely. Our point of view is that if these solutions aren't solving for the needs of the consumer, the employee, and an executive or a leader, we're probably not hitting on all of the areas that can make it the most effective and useful for a business. And so we break it down to think about, how can we increase decision velocity? How can we have personalization at scale? How can we actually help optimize employees so that we can take away that cognitive load and create technology and tooling that can be collaborative to help them do their job faster, more effectively, and offload those repetitive tasks that probably technology or AI can do for us, so that we can actually spend more time and energy and thought doing the more empathetic, integral work to the organization. And so our solutions span everything from self-service to agents to supervisors to leadership, to try and cover all of those areas. And there's different varieties of models, different varieties of tooling and solutions that actually work within our platform, within our products, within every customer. But we really do believe that the AI solutions out there, we've been talking about consumer solutions so much because we know what chatbots are. We know what IVA is. That's the best apples to apples with this new technology that's sort of broken onto the scene. But under the hood, there's a lot that can be done to make employees better at their jobs, faster at their jobs, and more satisfied and effective at their jobs. And I think that's twofold. We want to be able to reach those business outcomes faster, but also we do know that the workforce is demanding more, and we want to be able to give employees that. And so for businesses to be able to win and keep that best talent, this technology is really important to be able to achieve that.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the onset, it's a really exciting time, and it is, right? Because so much of this stuff now has become democratized to a point where people have access to it, they can get their hands dirty and play with it. But it's not new, right? And you guys have been doing stuff in AI for a while now, even before this recent kind of generative AI hype. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have the world's largest data set of interactive data, voice and text, and we have been using it in Enlighten for quite some time now. And so we have a number of different models. Talked a lot about our experience optimization set of models that really helps to figure out the best places to optimize and automate within the business. But I think the really exciting things here with generative AI and with the GPT API that we're using is to be able to give a voice to make that technology more accessible. So if you think about it now, and again, I'm going to go away from the consumer perspective and think about it more from an employee or a supervisor here. You have an agent who works in a desktop, has a panel, has a screen. That's what they're doing in their day-to-day. Imagine on the right-hand side, there's something that can help them understand what is going on in the context, that feeds them information as soon as they start an interaction with a customer, and that can proactively suggest next things to do for them, that can feed with a query all of the information personalized they need to give the best service. And then at the end of it, auto summarizes everything that happens for them. That is not removing a job. It is allowing them to focus on working faster and better and think about exactly the higher level thinking of what is necessary to accomplish that task to an excellent level, and sort of having a partner as if you're, body doubling, but the AI is doing it for you for every interaction. And the same can go for managers. Instead of trying to hunt to find out where should I be focusing my energy right now, this technology can help you sort through all of that data, make it understanding so you can hone in, whether it's coaching, whether it's changing workflows, whether it's performance guidance, or even, switching up who's doing what within your organization. All of that can be cut through, and it's a huge time saver, where I would say almost admin or research or just trying to figure out where you should put your energy has spent a lot of time before this technology actually existed in the world. So really big things that we can unlock with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was at your interactions event a couple months ago. It was a really great event. First time I was at a large conference for in a while. But one of the things that was impressive to me is this new kind of co-piloting feature that you guys have. So I'm curious as to as you look at this today and as a marketer, what it might look like tomorrow. What's got you most excited about what's coming next?
Yeah, I think that what is exciting to me is this technology has felt so medium to far future for folks, and has felt expensive and hard and difficult and long to deploy. And the great thing about the way we're approaching it with Enlighten and with these different solutions is that they are very built for different use cases. And so you don't have to go and rip everything out and build again. And, those projects that you've seen in the past where it's taken 3 years to deploy, that's not the reality here. And I think it's really about breaking down and even helping organizations figure out where they can make the most impact and what areas of their business they care about improving, changing, evolving the most now, starting to implement technologies in those use cases, and then be able to expand out as it makes sense. So that kind of adaptability and personalization is really important to us, and why having actions, Copilot, Autopilot for those different use cases in those different sectors is so important. Because for some people, maybe it is figuring out how to improve NPS or consumer loyalty or consumer retention. And the other pieces are just helping with employee engagement and keeping people onboarded and helping them be more effective and less overwhelmed in their jobs. So all of these different solutions can work for that. And again, we even have these very targeted individual use cases. Auto summary, which I just talked about, is something that you can get and implement fairly quickly. And so for us, it's about it being able to be personalized and secure, but also to be out of the box available to folks. So it doesn't take those months and years to get up and running. I think another exciting thing here is we're breaking down silos. We really believe in one platform that can expand beyond the tech center to the entire customer experience. And that does mean involving a lot of organizations and a lot of teams that historically didn't necessarily work in tandem. But if you can think about the website, mobile, marketing, support, success, all being able to share the same data and feed off of that and learn and have a cohesive journey, there are a lot of amazing things a business can do that's been holding them back previously, which again, this technology can now solve for.
Yeah. That's the saying used to be, what we used to get all the time is, all this digital and AI stuff is great, but I don't have 5 years and $5 billion of R&D budget to figure it out. Right. So now it's definitely, more accessible. And to that point, Elizabeth, you guys have a huge customer base. You mentioned the data that you guys have across all your customers. Where do you see the customers now, in this area? What are they doing, and what's your advice for, maybe the companies that are less advanced versus the ones that are, adopting this stuff more real time?
That's actually an excellent question. And a lot of the focus that we've had for the first half of the year has been on helping folks understand and feel educated in their specific area. Because again, if you look up generative AI for business right now, you're going to find a ton of information, but it might not be relevant to you actually doing your job and accomplishing the goals your business needs. So we've been really thinking about how we break that down, make it clear and understandable. So if you come to one of these sessions and you talked about it, or you're talking to one of our, sales folks, that they're going to be able to target in and vector into exactly what you need. And I think that right now what businesses are looking for is, how does this apply to my work and my world? And what can I use? And I don't really want to know anything more than that, because it's not relevant, and that information might be cool, but not important and informative. And so for us, it's really breaking that down. And some of that, I call it like digital maturity. But they're folks that are just moving to cloud and maybe need to tackle more about what the best platform is going to be. And then there are folks who maybe are early in their more advanced digital solution set, but haven't implemented a ton of that. And so how can we start to bring that in and bring in the AI and the generative AI technology to it? And then of course, there are those companies that have already been doing this for a while. How do we level them up faster and easier and make sure that we're not slowing them down as we're trying to innovate? So being able to catch that journey and accelerate from where you start is really important for us. And I think we have a really great playbook for that. But educating folks so that they feel knowledgeable and empowered and really sure of their moves and how their roadmap should look, so that we can condense that time scale to months or a quarter or two sprint to actually realize great benefits.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's good advice. Elizabeth, any final thoughts, any words of advice for customers that are looking at this saying, okay, I'm interested, but I don't know where to start?
Well, I think that some of the things that we've been doing is trying to build things like, infographics around AI and generative AI. We're putting out some white papers and some ebooks that are really about breaking down this idea and how to tackle it. I would say that folks should think about trying to read those resources first before going into any sort of pitch and trying to jump to what should I buy, so they can understand the impact. And again, work with folks who are willing to help you on that journey so you feel sure that what you're getting makes sense. Because we don't want to start building the same siloed, fractured, many technology systems with this new innovative technology. We want to start to solve for those problems holistically. And I think that being able to have that conversation first before we just start adding on new things is really important, because we might be able to simplify and streamline, and that's best for both companies and their employees and their consumers alike. I cannot hear you. I think that I either lost audio or got muted.
How about now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, that was the end. So no big deal.
Great.
I was just gonna say, Elizabeth, Tobey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.